Wouldn't you want to?
Why would you?
Yeah, with Safaricom, it feels good to be home.
Always
Amazing.
feels good to be home.
All right. Fantastic. And getting into the conversation that we will be this morning. We're connecting for sure. And we have both our guests in the studio this morning. Kidi Mwaga is the Secretary, Policy and Legislative Affairs with KANU. KANU being the party. Yes. Kidi, good morning.
The Grand Old Party. Good morning, Do. Really good to see you.
Good to see you. Karibu sana.
Asante.
The other gentleman is Frederick Okango. I have to say, when this show started and we started having guests and started having conversations 6.5 years ago, Frederick Okango was the first guest that we had, and he's here again today in August, a few months shy of our seventh birthday.
Absolutely.
Frederick, good morning.
Good morning.
Political
Good morning.
consultant and strategic advisor. Thank you for being
morning.
here today.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Now, as we get into a conversation for this morning, power promises and pressure, for the sake of Kenya's stability, what should give? Do we release here and increase here? What is that thing that they say? Does the pressure increase or does it increase?
Creases.
Oh, creases. Those are some of the things we'll be looking at this morning. But just before we do, Dennis Asato took us to an island, the fourth largest island in the world, or the
yes.
third. Okay.
Yeah.
We'd like you to interpret the proverb that he'll share.
Yeah.
Right.
And the island she's talking about split from Africa 180 million years ago. And also from
180
India.
million.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And again another 80 million years
What is that again?
from India. Yeah, this fourth largest island split from different countries and different continents. Yeah. So we're talking about Madagascar. The only land that has lemurs, and it's the largest exporter of vanilla. So you can call it vanilla land. Right? But let's go straight to the proverb. The proverb says, those that can't humble themselves are like a withering tree. How would you interpret that, Okama?
Those that can't humble themselves are like
A withering tree.
a withering tree. I think I'll give it an operational interpretation. In anything you do, if you are not able to put yourself at a position that people can consult you, engage you, participate with you, and maybe help you, then you will perish. And it happens to many governments. We have seen that.
Kidi.
I think that it underscores the fact that we must dwell in fellowship. And haughtiness is one of the things that would kill fellowship long before it starts. So when you are able to humble yourself, then people are able to point out to you that, well, one, this you have done well, but it could have been done better. A case in point, if you allow me, is that last week we had the SG of a very big political party around telling us how their arrangement is working. The next thing, we had members of their partners coming out to attack his integrity, that he was looking for some hundreds of millions to support that arrangement. I think it was a case of haughtiness. I rest my case.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess that from there we can start this conversation, because we're already asking ourselves questions around, so what really does give when it comes to the political landscape in the country? And for the sake of Kenya's stability, must something give? And when we see, and of course, Kidi just giving an entryway into that, when we look at the things that are happening currently, is it for country? We'll start with you, Fred. Is it for country? When we look at political alliances, when we look at governments that come together, when we look at agreements, when we hear that people for strong political parties are censured, for all intents and purposes, censure is the word that we're going to use here. They're censured not to speak out in the way in which they have been. Do we see that the end goal is for a better Kenya? And if it is, then how much more in this manner must we continue? There'll be a lot, but we start with you, Fred.
Thank you. First of all, allow me to say that, and maybe just to remind our listeners and viewers, that Kenya is a multi-party democratic state. And that means you are free to form as many parties as possible. And remember, these parties are the vehicles to power. Secondly, I don't think anyone should be allowed to censure to gag, to stop anyone in any manner, because again the provisions of law tells us that we have got free speech. So if I listen to your question correctly, I think there are certain things that we must address. And some of these things we must address are the promises by governments in place and promises by the government in waiting. That is where Kenyans are. Every time we go into an election, we listen to the leaders. They bring their views and promises, and we vote for them based on the promise they make, hoping that our lives will be better.
Right.
Today, as we are here, very many Kenyans are struggling. They are not very happy. However, we have to move on. So to answer you in a straightforward manner, I think something must give in, and that's true. And what is it that must give in? What must give in is the ideas that are going to help the lives of people, the ideas that are going to address the concerns of Kenyans. Today in this country, if you walk out here, you will see a lot of people. You will hear them talking. They are saying they have nothing in their pocket. They don't have food. You saw the other day when the CS Treasury, my good friend Buddy, came out openly and said that the government can no longer support free education. In the history of post-independence Kenya, that was one of the most advanced policies of free primary education. And even after 5 years, they advanced it to now free secondary education, you know? But that is the truth. So we must speak the truth. There has never been free education in Kenya. For those who have kids in school, there are still hidden charges. They pay development levy, remedial, transport. So I believe that when our leaders are honest with themselves first, then honest with us as the people, then we shall progress. But lastly, we also understand that the politics of the day demands that you advance at every stage. The politics changes every minute. The politics of 2022, I can guarantee you, is not going to be the politics of 2027. Even it's not the politics of 2025 today. Kidi has just talked of a political party where an SG says this, the strategic organ says this, the leader says this. But I see those are management tools that are used in politics to ensure that we progress as a people and as individuals.
Okay. Kitty, is that what it is? That what you would have seen as the overt censure of someone speaking out for what he felt, that what it's, Fred says it's progressive.
I think that we are at a place where we must call it what it is. That one, of course, the country is hurting. That is a poorly kept open secret. That there is need to extend immediate help, particularly to the most vulnerable. And the other truth is that the political class either are out of their breath or are deliberately, maintaining the status quo, because I think in the assessment, the native is easier to control when he is hungry. So then that brings me into saying that I think that the attacks against the integrity of Senator Sifuna, and permit me to be more direct, were misplaced. They were misplaced because when the two parties came together under the broad-based, one, I have heard them say that it was an attempt to bring stability. That stability is only to the extent of ethnopolitical stability. But then government can still sustain its stability by making sure it delivers to the people. So in regards to the censure, if the good senator was being censured or whatever it is, I think we must call it what it is. A political order that is out of its breath and must either find its footing very quickly to address the needs of the people, or the people in their wisdom will then exercise what they do to governments that abandon them.
Can political parties across board, because you didn't start it, Fred, by saying that political parties, because of the multi-party democracy in
Yes,
which
yes.
Kenya currently exists, that you can have as many political parties as you wish. If the two Dennises today stood up and decided that we want a political agenda that must go in this way, they are actually allowed to get up and form a political party
Absolutely.
and then start to get their followers for whatever reason.
Yes.
So the political parties, the way they are currently constituted in their numbers, do you think that they then are ready to then craft the vehicles for power into the next dispensation that Kenyans are so readily looking forward to?
They are. Let me tell you, I have been a Secretary General of a political party for 5 years, and I understand how political parties operate. Allow me to just respond to something Kidia said. Senator Sifuna, who is my senator in Nairobi, and the SG of ODM, I don't think anyone attempted to gag Senator Sifuna. I have listened to my good friend Raila Amolo Odinga speak. He spoke in one of the TV stations, and Senator Sifuna went ahead and gave his personal views on another. And if you listen to what Senator Sifuna said and what Raila Odinga said, there's no difference. Senator Sifuna said that he was speaking as Senator Sifuna. And when opportunity allows, he speaks as the ODM SG. And that manifested itself in the Central Committee meeting of the ODM when he was given the statement to read on behalf of the party. So I don't think anyone can even manage to gag Sifuna. But political parties have got an opportunity to advance their ideologies, whether in power or out of power, through progressive policies that the people must listen to. Raila Amolo Odinga, having been an opposition leader before for quite some time, including now, and I've worked with him for quite some time when we were in Azimio, there are certain things that Raila believed in, and he still believes in them. And that is why Kidi says in the broad-based arrangement that was supposed to bring stability to this country, there were some promises that were put on pen and put to paper and signed by a pen. Those were the 10-point agenda. And the 10-point agenda speaks to everyone. The issues of corruption are issues we cannot run away from. They are live in our country. The issues of corruption, even the bishops that preach and pray in State House, pray about it. You know that. The issues of strengthening devolution are issues we cannot run away from. Where are the people of Kenya? The people of Kenya are in the devolved units. That is where we need strength most, through resources and facilities and structures that can help them advance their life.
Being done?
I am telling you that that's the discussion that Kenyans want to hear, and they want those things done.
Are
And
they
therefore,
being done?
If you ask me, yes, if you ask me, what can the political parties do to ensure that we address some of these things? They must speak. Number one. That's why Sifuna is speaking. Number two, they must collaborate. That's why Raila is collaborating. Number three, they must recruit members that are going to be their representative through elective positions, nominated positions, and even at the legislative house. I am answering you to say that today, as I look at the political parties, other than some parties that are tribal or regional, there are parties in this country that are national. They have people of integrity. They have people that, when elected, can actually deliver some of these things we are talking about. And therefore, political parties are capable and ready to advance the interests of the people, because the parties are the vehicles to power.
When we talk about these political parties that you talk of having the interest of the people at heart, we look at political parties and individuals in these parties who only think about themselves. Why would I say that? You look at especially the formation of broad-based government, and it has been touted as a move towards which the political individuals, politicians and political parties want expediency to continue being in power, not about how they will meet the 10-point agenda, because you talk about the 10-point agenda, it's pretty much copy and paste of the NADCO report. And one would say it is the aspirations of what the Constitution also speaks about. So when you talk about political parties that think about the people and service delivery, one would say that's not the case. Would you agree?
I don't think that's not true. That's not true. Let me just answer straight away. That's not true, because when political parties speak, who do they speak for? They don't speak for individuals in the party. They speak for the people. Political parties, proper political parties, are owned by the people. And look at the registrar's records. Which parties have the numbers? It will tell you who they speak for. And this issue of politicians coming together for personal benefit, I don't think is the best thing, is the best approach. People have criticized Raila Odinga before, but look at every time Raila Odinga collaborates, what happens to this country? When this country is faced with challenges, right from 2007, I don't know where you were at that time, but I am reminded at that time, I just graduated from the university, at that time, people were dying. And this is a gentleman who shelved his personal ambition for the sake of this country. Go to 2017, the same. 2022, the same. When Raila Odinga, the formation of BBI, because I was right inside it, the formation of BBI was as a result of what happened in 2022. We still hold the strong belief that Ruto never won this election. We still hold. But you know what? That was our personal ambition to get into power. And he was with us at that time. But because of what happened, we believe that coming together is important, because we also believe in the national values and principles of governance of this country that require of inclusivity, require of patriotism, require of national unity. That is what we are talking about. So when you say that individuals come for personal gain, which gain? The gain of individuals?
Kiddy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you
Let-
for protecting me, my brother Dennis.
I want to push this conversation towards your direction.
Yes.
I mean, seriously speaking,
Yes.
do you hold the sentiments of Frederick here that because of Raila,
Yes.
we're looking at these current arrangements,
Yes.
that the country is stable because he has entered into an agreement with the Kenya Kwanza government, and it's not for selfish gains?
Let me preface that question, by quoting from Frantz Fanon, who says that the empire came to Africa, picked some of our best brains, took them to the West, and when they came up, whenever they spoke, what we had were the echoes of the empire. I would boldly suggest that it is precisely what is happening here. I had the good fortune of working with Okango at KANU before he ran away and joined other forces. And I'm a little sad that my brother seeks to bring in the name of Raila Odinga even where it is not necessary. When I spoke about the attacks against Senator Sifuna, it was not coming from ODM. And because my brother is a political consultant, I think what consultants do every day, they wake up in the morning, is first to hear what are the people saying in the country. The people who are attacking Senator Sifuna's integrity were not from ODM. And so the tangent he went to into defending the ODM Central Committee, in my view, was not necessary. So then that brings me into the question that, is the country stable on account of, some personal agreement between what I would call the two principles? Dennis, I work with young people daily and as a convener Interparties Youth Forum. And yesterday I was meeting 75 young political aspirants at Ufungamano with the help of other partners, where we are doing political education. We are looking at young political aspirants as trainers of trainers, so that when they go back to the grassroots, they begin to educate other young people. And so the question is the country stable on account of the supposed, the answer is no. And the evidence is there, that on Sabasaba, you saw how the police had to fence off the city. You do not do that when the country is stable. Look at the numbers in terms of unemployment. The numbers on unemployment are skyrocketing. Look at the doses of violence that the state has had to deploy against the citizens who are simply demonstrating within the meaning of Article 37. It is unjustifiable. All these factors put together indicate that the country is, of course, not stable, and the country is crying for leadership. And then you've asked that the question about political parties, that can these political parties then get power? I think it was coming from DA. Because I work with political parties, every day I interface with almost every political party, I will put it to you very boldly that majority of our political parties are what you call second liberation political parties. Most of them are running in the softwares of the 90s and early 2000s. Today, the country is crying for third liberation political parties. Not many of them have made the transition. We are at a place where the country is crying for radical imagination. That radical imagination does not exist in this government the way it is constituted today, whether you call it Kenya Kwanza or you call it broad-based. And I think that as we march towards 2027, parties that will capture the imagination of the people are parties that shall fashion themselves as third liberation political parties. And I'm saying this knowing that the SGs and EDs are listening, and this is a call that we have to reform our political parties. Thank you.
Just allow me to respond to something very briefly.
Yes.
Kidi, I think, is not aware.
Yes.
Kidi Mwaga is not aware that KANU is still in Azimio, because Azimio as a coalition has never been dissolved.
Yes.
The provisions of law that allow for dissolution, it has not been dissolved. And therefore, Kidi, I still work with you. The only difference between me and you is that you are not aggressive enough to advance your abilities to help this country. But be that as it may, Kidi, you talk of second liberation political parties, and you belong to my party, KANU, that belongs right there. So I don't know whether you are intending to ditch KANU and go and form your own party. But then maybe that's your decision.
So Fred, you're still a
yes,
KANU
I am.
member.
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Just for clarification.
Yes, I am. It's only that I tend to give opportunity for younger people to get into the space that they're working and advance. And that's what's called succession planning. I'm not sure if Kidi is aware about that. But let me tell you, I believe that political parties have got stakes higher in this country, because it is only through a political party that you can form a government. Even if you are to run as an independent candidate, and then you go and win the presidential election, where are going to be your where are they going to come from? Your members of parliament. Where are they going to come from? So I strongly believe that as we progress, we must strengthen political parties. And strengthening political parties, Kidi, is not about criticizing them or allowing those who speak for them to look like, somebody is gagging them or not. You said that Sifuna was not criticized by the ODM members. That's not true. I saw ODM members who in their own right believed that what Sifuna was doing was wrong, and they are ranking members. And I say this because I read those things. I interact with these people. What we must learn from history is that the secretary generals that Kidi says are listening today, they speak for the party, but they also have their own mind. You cannot speak for the party without having your own mind. All the time I used to speak for my party as SG, I had my mind, then I had the mind of the party in my mind. So I speak the two languages. Now, as we progress, my suggestion would be the young people that went to the streets and said, Kidi Morgan team, they are partyless, radarless, formless, leaderless, must now organize themselves into structures of acquiring power, get IDs, register as voters, and then you can start telling us that now you can go to the third or fourth liberation. It is only through organized structures that young people can capture power. They have done well. I appreciate them. I admire them. In fact, were it not for the young people, today maybe, some of these things that we are doing might not be here. We will not even be here, maybe.
Okay, let's take a break at this point and we'll come back and then we'll actually look at what brings these two what would be leading parties together and see if some of those things have actually been accomplished. The question is also, did it require the coming together of two parties for things that should have been done anyway to bring about any kind of stability in the country? We'll talk about that when we come back. Kitty Mwaga is here in the studio with us, as well as Frederick Okango. And we're looking at some of these issues and saying, what will it actually take to move the country forward? While we take this break, I want you to think about one thing.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I make Monday count by reading Health and Science. It helps me eat healthy, live healthy, and stay healthy.
Setting the standard every day of the week. The Standard, Kenya's bold newspaper.
This week on Shop Odega Kisumu. Are you ready?
Kutani wapi? Dala. We have M-Pesa Sokoni coming to you in Kisumu. Dala, guys. It's going to be a massive, massive festival on Saturday at Mamboleo Grounds.
To celebrate and connect and grow and power.
We're going to give you a concert. We're promoting local talent. We have businesses showcasing what they do. They have amazing offers.
Woo! But do I say?
What do I say? Unataka kulipa?
Dial star 811 star 914 hash to get this as your skiza tune. KTN, ndio home.
Uses
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Then have been used to quell storm, to quell conflicts, or so it's said. The most recent is the two largest political parties in Kenya at the moment, UDA and ODM, come together under the auspices of the president. And then we ask ourselves the question, the things that the 10-point agenda is envisioned to actually achieve. why is it not possible that the government of the day do these things, which, if you look at that 10-point agenda, they are mandates of government anyway?
Yes.
So why would you require two political parties to come together to do something which government was doing anyway under the guise of quelling of conflict, Fred? Let's even take the first
I guess
one.
I speak first because you spoke last. Before we went
Most obliged.
Why would we need that to happen? Remember, the first one was that the entrenchment of the NADCO report was number one. Number two was to entrench and protect the rights of Kenyans to protest, to picket, to lobby.
Yes.
And we've not seen that has been protected, at least not in the last year. So why would we need two political parties coming together to do what government is supposed to be doing anyway? And then we've formed a different entity. Why?
Thank you, Ndu. Before I respond to that question, my brother, while speaking very eloquently, mentioned a few things that deserve a response. One of them, he said that the difference between him and myself is that I am not aggressive enough to hawk my talent out there like him, who possibly now has moved to other things on account of his talent.
Those are not my words.
Well, I must say this to my brother, that in the book of Daniel, we see the three Jewish boys who say that they will not defile themselves with the flesh pots of the king's table. I think that I am comfortable in Kanu where I am. I am learning. I am being mentored sufficiently. I have been placed in positions of responsibility, and that is enough. I do not need to, have a lot of money and a lot of these other things that some of our brothers are interested in. If anything, we should prepare ourselves for leadership, but that cannot happen when we cannot, stick with a political party and learn. Because my brother says he was an SG. In the 4 years I have known him, I think he's now in 3 political parties. He was SG somewhere. He was Secretary Political Affairs in KANU. And now I think he's in ODM. Because even as he has spoken here, he has defended ODM more than he has spoken about KANU.
Which he says he's still in.
That he claims he is in. Secondly, there is a notion that young people don't know better. People are saying that young people should organize, young people should do this, and young people should do that. Remember that when this country had been abandoned by the political class, after coming together under NADCO, it took the imagination and the courage of young people to append the politics of patronage. And so again, in response to my brother, a naked emperor cannot tell us on how to dress up. So let me then respond to your question. That did it have to take these two big political parties coming together to defend right to protest, to defend something as basic as right to life? My sister Ndu, I will tell you that governments are formed to do just 3 things. Protect life, protect freedoms, and protect right to own property. So that today when I have this bottle of water, Okang does not come and take it from me because he is stronger. But then I would say boldly that our government has let us down in all those 3 angles. In the last Maandamano, we lost, I think, up to about 31 people. Right now, yesterday, as I was meeting young people at Ufungamano, we agreed that because of the doses of violence deployed by the state, whenever young people attempt to exercise their rights under Article 37, we needed to recall our troops from the front line and re-strategize and rethink more intelligent ways on how to sustain the momentum for change without suffering more casualties. So let me answer your question so that I let my brother come in. That the problem with our country is what I would call politics of monopoly. And it is the politics of monopoly that has got 3 facets. The first facet is patronage and clientelism. It is that patronage and clientelism that operates from the thinking that if you take Okanga and bring him into government, then you shall have quelled all the problems besetting that government. The second one is elite accommodation. That because of courtesy of your capacity to mobilize, you have caused for us a lot of trouble. Let us accommodate each other. That thinking stems from what we call game of chicken theory. And then the last one is tokenism, where in tokenism we say that because young people are making a lot of noise, let us find one young person, place him somewhere, and then every time you say, this government is friendly to young people because mnaona Okango, ama mnaona fulani. The problem with that is that then the government fails to respond to the needs of the people through a policy infrastructure. When you look at the unemployment levels today in this country, it is not because we do not have a young person as a cabinet minister. Actually, the minister for water, I think, is 32 years old or 33. We have a PS who is also and just shy of being 30 years old. But still, there is massive suffering. So I think that, and because my brother is a consultant and works for this administration, I hope that he consults for them and tells them that what we need as a people is radical imagination that is going to ensure that the many young people out of work, the many young people whose promise to upward social mobility continues to wane, need a fair shot at life. That exporting an entire generation out of the country in the name of labor migration as a response to unemployment is unimaginative. Thank you.
Let me call him Pastor Kidi Mwaga. There are things that Kidi says, and I wonder. When we came from the election, the gentleman seated opposite me here, Kidi, actually joined William Ruto and defended William Ruto for some months until they saw a roadblock and they exited. So you cannot come and tell the public, the listeners, the viewers of this important, eminent show that, what, this government is bad. Well, you supported it at some point. I, Frederick Okango, since I joined politics, I've only been in two political parties, in KANU and Third Way, where I was a Secretary General, and in KANU, where I was a political affairs. Azimio is a coalition party that also KANU is a member, and I serve as political affairs secretary. As a professional, I consult, I advise. You cannot stop me from doing that. But let me just respond to certain things Kidi is saying. The meaning of memorandum of understanding, Kidi, it has got another meaning that we must also address deeply. When two parties or more come together in an agreement, that is MOU. Now, when this party express a common interest, it's still an MOU. The interest that was expressed between Raila Odinga's party and William Ruto's party had common interest. You say that how did we allow this to happen, and the government of the day should do that anyway? I agree. But look, there's a party that came in that was not in power. There's a party that represented people that was not in power. And their people also wanted to feel that their views are incorporated. Kidi Mwaga knows that we have got a constitutional principle called participation of the people. For the people to participate, they must be involved. And this involvement was for the willing at that time.
How is that?
I am telling you now.
Fred, how are people participating in this broad-based government? The people of Kenya.
I am telling you. The people of Kenya who Raila Amolo Odinga got votes from, where were they going to go at a time when they also look forward or towards their leader to help them? Raila is their leader. I voted for Raila Odinga. I look forward for his help. When things are bad, I look forward for his help.
How? In what way?
I look forward for his help to speak and address issues of concern not only to me, but also to Kidi, Dio, and the rest.
Is that happening?
That is happening.
Let's be practical.
That is
Fred.
happening.
Let's be practical.
Yes, it
Fred.
is happening.
When somebody is complaining about issues economically, developmentally, are we saying that as a result of this coming together of these two parties, suddenly now that their views would be heard in a way that they were never heard before?
And
because they're affiliated to Raila Odinga.
I think as well, let's just be practical, because when these broad-based agreement was being signed, one of the key issues there was to end extrajudicial killings by police. But you realized that in the subsequent demonstrations that you've seen, especially under the broad-based government, that many Kenyans have died. Now, how then do you say that this engagement and this collaboration between the two has sorted out the problem that they intended to stop from the beginning?
Okay, let me answer you. Me, personally, I've written opinion pieces about police brutality, and I have condemned it because it is wrong. Raila Odinga, the leader of Azimio, has condemned that before. Gideon Moi, the chair of my party, KANU, has condemned that several times. And they have said it is not going to happen again because that is not what should happen.
Yet it did under the broad-based government.
Now, you take that to the doorsteps of the president, who is now leading the country. And he has said that he has talked to his officers and he has committed himself. Whether he does it or not is another question. But we are saying, as who are not part of that, we are saying it is wrong to kill young people. It is wrong to shoot them on the foot. It is wrong to maim them. It is wrong even to shoot them with a rubber bullet. We have condemned that. Raila has condemned that. So when you say about this 10-point agenda that it was one of the issues that was discussed and has not happened, that is the reason why we're even going further and saying maybe there has never been an implementation framework, and maybe these young people have more to say. And that takes me to the point of what Raila was saying, that we must now address this issue, allowing young people to participate in a national intergenerational conversation that will give them an opportunity. If they come and say it is in this platform that Ruto must go, then so be it. If it is in this platform that Ruto must stay, so be it. It is in this platform that we must now address all these police killings, so be it. I agree with you. There are so many things that were promised, some of them in the NADCO, that have not happened. And we must speak the truth. The truth of the matter is the progress has been very slow. But also the truth is, Kidi just relax, the truth is NADCO has given us, which I was also a supporting technical member, has given us the commission. We came together, through NADCO, we got the amendment of the IBC Act that brought us the commission. Why are people not talking about that? Today, we are talking about the bill that the president signed yesterday into law of interest. You know, where did it come from? It was in the BBI, then it was in the NADCO. People are not talking about that. The progress is slow, but we want it faster. We want it accelerated. And that's why I'm saying it is true. Some of these issues in the 10-point agenda, in the NADCO report, the government should do them. It does not involve the two parties to come together. Leave them. That was elite consensus. I agree. Now let's go for the citizen consensus, citizen-led, citizen-initiated. We want the people of Kenya to talk among themselves, listen to themselves, offer solutions to themselves, propose them to themselves, so that we address these issues. Because even if Ruto was to go today, Raila go today, Rigathi goes today as he has gone, these issues will still remain. How do we solve them? We must solve them among ourselves as the people. And that's why I take people always back to the issues on national value and the principle of governance. That is where the solution is.
Kidi, do you agree with him?
My brother engages in what we call prevarications. I call it prevarications because, one, the last time I checked, the Secretary for Political Affairs in KANU was Dr. David Baraza, not Fred Okago. The second thing, my brother speaks very eloquently and says that they have, they want us to engage in a national dialogue. So, my brother, let me ask you, do you believe that Ruto must go?
That is a question that people will answer. No, you can't direct the answer.
Yes.
I give you the answer.
You say that you want the
that
young
is
people
a question,
in
Kidi,
that dialogue
Kidi,
to say Ruto must go.
Kidi, that is a question that the people of Kenya will answer at the ballot.
I am asking for your personal opinion.
And if the people of Kenya believe that Ruto must go, there are avenues of Ruto going. They can impeach him.
No,
they can vote him out in 2027. So the problem with people like Kidi.
Let's do this. Let's continue with your point on that point, please.
I think that what the suggestions from our people, our friends in government, is that we engage in a national dialogue.
That is not a government suggestion. No. We must correct that. No, it is not.
It is from
it is not. It is not a government suggestion. We must not. We should not mislead the people.
A little decency would have taught you
I'm very decent,
that the rule of debate is remain quiet when I speak. The same way I was quiet.
Carry on as our time runs down.
Thank you. So let me say this, that we cannot entirely slam the doors on calls for dialogue, because every time societies have been embroiled in conflicts, breakthroughs have come through dialogue. When gunfires break out in 14th of June 1914, it takes dialogue in the Valley of Versailles in 1919 for the world to experience peace. When war broke out in 1939, when Adolf Hitler attacks Poland, it takes a peace after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that eventually the world comes together and says, let us form a body where we can dialogue.
Then they form the United Nations.
Yes.
Okay.
Locally, when we had the problems around the 2007, 2008, we had to go to Serena. And subsequently, we have spoken. Democracy in itself is founded on compromise. So that to say that we cannot dialogue would be the epitome of foolishness. What we are opposed to is using dialogue as a tool to, as a political salve, to buy time for the administration or for the government of the day, while the critical services that the people are demanding from their governments have been abandoned. I am not aware if my brother knows, but the number of people dying of cancer today in Kenya is higher than the number of people dying from a road accident. If you look at the number of young people who are today out of work, but with the proper schooling, it is unjustifiable. If you look at the human rights record of this administration, maybe the economy, there are structural issues that cannot be dealt with quickly. But the question of human rights, does it have to take Raila Odinga to be in government for this government to protect and respect human rights? I respectfully disagree. So I think that what our friends in government are engaged in is prevarications. I think that as a people, we must reject the calls to be involved in political revolving doors. If NADCO could not solve the problems, I don't think that something called an intergenerational dialogue would solve any problems. If anything, and this is my direct call to the people of Kenya, that the most we can do is to engage in Supreme People's Convention. That now, instead of filling the streets, let us fill public squares and discuss that how are we going to reclaim our sovereignty. There are critical things that this government should have dealt with, that even under the broad-based arrangement it has failed to deal with, and it is a testament that they are children of the same mother.
Okay.
Let me say this, because I want to let you bring in my brother. There is a question of odious debt. We have not had any intelligent answer from Kenya Kwanza for the last 2 years. They were in government alone. And in the last 1 year, under the broad-based, we have not had anything about odious debt. While there is a feeling that money was misappropriated under the Eurobond, and some accountability should have taken place. That a little accountability would have helped us deal with the question of high cost of living in this country. My brother has not spoken about it. The people have not spoken about it. And there is so much more. So I think that with all this said, we respectfully reject the calls to engage in another political circus in the name of intergenerational dialogue. Thank you.
Heard you from there, Kidi. And we have a minute left, Fred. So it's a quick answer to that, absolutely. Really.
I think Kidi Mwaga is a fair weather friend. I am tempted to call him a waffler, but I'll avoid that for today because he changes based on where his bread is buttered.
Let's look at the issue.
So
As we
the
now have
issue,
30 seconds. We have 30 seconds.
The issue is there's no government today that has proposed the national dialogue. Not at all. The proposal that was made on 7th March at Serena was made by Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga is not in government. We all know that. Even though people believe he is not. Number two, Kidi has come up with another proposal. We welcome it as Kenyans. As a Kenyan, I actually welcome his proposal. Come with many more. Those who are listening to us, watching us, come as many as possible with many more proposals. Put them together. Let's discuss. That is the intergenerational conversation that we want. That is what we're proposing, Kidi. And lastly, Kidi, I agree when you say that this government has not talked about certain things like Odia's death. I agree. And I want that conversation, the intergenerational conversation, to address the issues of debt, to address the issues of corruption, to address the issues of socio-economic exclusion of young people like you and many out there. That is the issue. If the government of the day cannot address that, then the people should apply themselves to the provision of Article 1.
Very good.
And do that expressly. Because, truth be told, that we cannot keep whining, complaining, praising, and people are dying, things are going left. The only solution we have today, Kidi, and I agree that you have said you cannot avoid dialogue. Now, don't avoid a proposal of a dialogue. Propose yours, let's come together, concretize it, go out, involve the citizen, let it be citizen-led, Kidi.
Thank you, Fred.
That's what we want.
In 10 seconds, Kidi.
In 10 seconds. One, Buddha says that there are three things you can't hide for long. The sun, the moon, and the truth. He has started by accusing me that I supported
I've not accused you.
That I support this administration. Truth is, there are instances I gave William Ruto the benefit of the doubt, particularly within the first 1 year in office.
So he supported you?
No, listen, Okango.
Don't shout. You supported him.
There was no legitimate reason to oppose the government then. Even today, we are not opposing the government. We are calling it out on its own on its own promises and its own human rights record. If the government kills the people, we cannot continue singing praises to it because our bread is buttered. Correct. My friend on the left, however, has run away from the party, is singing praises for the government because his bread is buttered there.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Unfortunately, our time definitely has come to an end. It's good, these robust conversations, good for us to have them in this manner, while focusing on the issues. Kidi Mwaga and Frederick Okango, thank you so much for being here with us this morning at 2 minutes past 8 o'clock. More time for conversations, more time in the future. Asante sana.
This is the Situation Room.